Hello everyone, greetings to all of you. This is Godwill Yakum. I'll be schooling you through general knowledge today. So if you're preparing to go in for Nahpi, the National Higher Polytechnic Institute of Bamenda, or any other relating concours like FET, Coltech, COT, and so on, then you are very lucky to have come across this channel. So just quickly subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so, and give this video a thumbs up. Throughout the lesson, if there are some things you don't understand or you still want me to explain more, you can ask your question in the comment section. I'll review it, reply to you, and if necessary, I'll need to explain to you again. So we're going to move through 30 questions in today's lesson. 30 general knowledge questions. May I remind you that at the entrance examination into Nahpi, questions are MCQ type questions, and you need to know that MCQ questions are strategic questions that you really need to know. It's not where you come and do close left eye, open right eye, and select answer, or tumbu tumbu as the local man calls it. It is where you need to reason. So today I'll be showing you also not only how to answer these questions, but how to behave in the examination hall. That is why I will be telling you in each question, I'll have to bring out the correct answer. I'll tell you why that answer is correct and why the others are wrong. Let us get started. So I pick my pen. The first question, I'll be reading the English version. On what date was the 220 edition of the UNESCO World Engineering Day celebrated? The question again, on which date was the 220 edition of UNESCO World Engineering Day? UNESCO World Engineering Day 220 edition was celebrated on the 4th of March 2020. UNESCO and the international engineering community, they observe an international day for engineering, otherwise known as a World Engineering Day, and it was celebrated on the 4th of March as an engineering day on the theme World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development. So now when you look at the other options, they are already wrong. So the correct answer to this question is B, the 4th of March 2020. Now we move on to question 2. Question 2, I read. Question 2. Engineers are highly needed for the UN 2030 agenda, especially in the domain of water, energy, sustainable infrastructure, innovation, to develop planet Earth such that the benefit lasts for long across generations. The United Nations 30 agenda refers to the UN 30 agenda refers to. So I want to believe that it will not be the first time for you hearing about the UN 30 agenda or the sustainable development goal. So if we don't want to call it the UN 30 agenda, pick my pen. All right, good. If you don't want to call it the United Nations UN 230 agenda, we are going to call it the SDG, which means the Sustainable Development Goal. Now, when you look here, it's not like the Millennium Development Goal is not also a goal, but it is not the UN 2030 agenda. Now, I'll have to explain a few things to you for you to understand very well. The Sustainable Development Goal was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 2015. And then this framework contains up to 17 Sustainable Development Goals, 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. And then what was the target of the Sustainable Development Goal? The target was to eliminate extreme poverty in the world and to protect the planet Earth, also to ensure prosperity for all by the year 2030. Now, it is important for you to know that the Sustainable Development Goal is far different from the Millennium Development Goal. So now, after saying that our answer is Sustainable Development Goal, which when we look at it, it is option B, Sustainable Development Goal. Now, what does Millennium Development Goal refer to? The Millennium Development Goal, on the other hand, is known as the MDG, the Millennium Development Goal. And it was an earlier framework. It came up before the Sustainable Development Goal. The United Nations Development Project for MDG was from the year 2000 to the year 2015. Now, like I said, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals were adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 2015. So now I'm saying that the Sustainable Development Goal is an extension of the Millennium Development Goal. So I believe you have understood very well. If that is the case, we go to question number 3. Question 3. All right. Question reads: a good engineer needs a good understanding of science, mathematics, as well as you have good management skill. You have some teamwork abilities, relating engineering to societal challenge, and you have a perfect score in physics. Just look at Concours question. As simple as it is, you don't have to reason out of the box. In this question, the answer is C, and I'm going to be explaining to you why a good engineer will need a good understanding of how to relate engineering to societal challenges. Now, what will I be saying? Engineering is applied in solving problems. So, where are you solving the problem? In the society. So, it's not all about the science and the maths. You must also, as an engineer, understand what is going on in the society. What is happening to the common man, so that you will be able to translate the technical solution into the real world, and then you apply your engineering ethics and safety and sustainability also to be able now to solve the problem that the people are facing. Now, it's not like engineers don't need good management skills. They do. It is not also like they don't need teamwork, or they don't need what's the other one? A perfect score in physics. Yes, of course they do. But now they are not tools or essential tools. They are not necessary nor sufficient for you to be defined as a good engineer. Question 4. All right, so for question 3, I said the answer is this, C. Question 4, what is the minimum qualification to be registered as a professional engineer in Cameroon? Okay. As a professional engineer, the answer is A. Because remember, the question is minimum qualification. When they say minimum qualification, it means the lowest qualification, lowest grade that they can consider you an engineer in Cameroon. So when you stand somewhere and present yourself, I am engineer this, engineer that, we should know that you have at least this qualification. Now, I'm going to say the answer is A, which is bachelor's in engineering degree. Why bachelor's? It is the lowest. There's nothing like HND in engineering. Yes. So now you who is currently undertaking engineering courses, yet to graduate, maybe you are in year 3 in FET, or year 4, year 2, or year 3 in Nahpi. You are not yet an engineer. You are a people engineer, or you are a student engineer. You are not yet an engineer. So by the time people are calling you engineer, you are accepting. You should know that you are not yet an engineer. You become an engineer by the time that certificate is in your hand. So now, you can have bachelor's in engineering, abbreviated as bench. You can have bench after 4 years, either at Nahpi, FET, or COT, and so on. You can have mench, masters in engineering, which is 5 years program. You can obtain this certificate at Nahpi, Polytechnic, Douala or Yaoundé Maroua, National Advanced School of Public Works, National Survey School of Boya, and so on. Question number 5. Okay. Question 5 I read. Floods are environmental hazards. Let me, before I finish question 5, I did not tell you why some of the answer in 4 are wrong. But before I started this lesson, I said I'll have to tell you why the other answers are wrong. So let's still get back there. I'll not be in a rush for you to understand everything detailedly. So let's go back there. You have a master's degree. Somewhere you have a master's degree, you see that it is a higher degree than bachelor's. So since bachelor is already an engineering degree, so master's become wrong because it's not the lowest. Now, engineering license. Is there anything like engineering license? Engineering license is usually the outcome of registration. It is not a minimum academic qualification for you. It's an outcome of being your registration as an engineer. When you are registered as an engineer in Cameroon, professional engineer, you are going to be given an engineering license. Then another one now, they talk of practice for 5 years, which is not a qualification. Practicing for 5 years is an experience. So you should not misquote, or you should know the difference between qualification and experience. They are not the same. So an experience of 5 years is not a credential. It's not an academic credential for you to become an engineer, or to be called an engineer, or to become a professional engineer in Cameroon. We go to the next question. That's going to be question 5. Yeah. All right, question 5. Floods are environmental hazards that destroy human life, property, and environment. Where are we? Question 5. And environment. Good. They cannot be totally eliminated, but their effects can be reduced using all the following engineering measures, except so we are looking at engineering measures that can help to we are looking at engineering measures. One of them that cannot help to solve the problem of flood. A minute. All right, so like I said, we are looking at the question says all of these except one. So that except one, the answer is going to be D. That except one is going to be D, and I'm going to explain why D. We have floodgates, we have flood control reservoir, and we have restoring wetlands. These three like that, they are of course natural or engineering measures that can be used to control the risk of flood and also to manage water flow, right? But now let's look at the other option, which is tackling climate change. Tackling climate change is an important global policy and also a mitigation goal. So it is not a specific engineering countermeasure. So we cannot say that engineers should be the one to implement tackling of climate change. So that is why I am saying that it is going to be, the answer is going to be D. So excuse me. Now, why are the other options A, B, and C? Why do we consider them as engineering measures? Floodgates and reservoirs, they are engineered structures. They are structures that are being done by engineers. Wetland restoration is a nature-based infrastructural approach, and then it is often designed or at least guided by engineers. So you now see that whether we are talking about floodgates, flood control reservoir, or restoring wetlands, they are engineering, they are related to the activities of engineers. But in tackling climate change, it has to do with policies. So question number 6. Question 6 is, it is an engineering application used by Cameroon to reduce election fraud. It is an engineering application used by Cameroon to reduce election fraud. Now let me start by eliminating ELECAM, which many people think it is the answer. The answer to this question is not ELECAM. ELECAM simply means Elections Cameroon, and Elections Cameroon is the body, the name of the organization that run ELECAM, and not an application. The next is transparent ballot box. The transparent ballot box is not an application, neither is biotechnology an application. The engineering application that ELECAM, Elections Cameroon, will use in order to reduce the rate of electoral fraud is B, which is biometrics. I will explain. What do we mean by biometrics? What is biometric system? It refers to fingerprints, it refers to iris, it refers to facial recognition. So that is why when you go to make your electoral card, you have to take your fingerprints. There you put your fingers or your thumb, you put your fingertip on their tablet, and then it picks up your fingerprints. They take a picture of you to recognize your face and so on. So these are technological engineering solutions that are used in voters registration and also in identification. And how is this important? It reduces what we call duplication. It reduces duplication, as in as a result of that, you are not going to vote 2 times. But if they don't do that, you can vote, you can do your voter registration maybe 5 times. Then you come and vote 5. At the end, one person has voted 5 times, another person will vote 6 times, another person will vote 3 times. At the end of the day, the result that we get is not the exact intended result that the ballot box would have given us. So now, why are the other answers wrong? Like I said, Elecam is just a body, an institution. It is not a technological application. A transparent ballot box is simply a physical transparency measure, that we are saying that the ballot box should be transparent, such that fraud should not occur. People should not come and put in more than one ballot and so on. That is why the security will be there in any time there's election. The security men are there, of course, to ensure that there is transparency. Then what about biotechnology? Biotechnology now is unrelated to electoral identification. Yes, it is related to engineering. Yes, biotechnology is a topic in biological science, and then we don't use biotechnology in electoral identification. So my interest has been for you to understand the meaning of these terms and then find out the correct answer from there. We go with question number 7. All right, here comes question 7. Who invented the first experimental tricolor television? Who invented the first experimental tricolor television? We have Thomas Edison. No. We have Bill Gates. No. We have Philo Farnsworth. No. We have Hovhannes Adamian. Yes. The answer to this question is D. Hovhannes Adamian. Let me explain small. Even though the name is written as Hovhannes, the name is usually most often spelled as Hovhannes. Hovhannes Adamian. Adamian. Hovhannes Adamian. So Hovhannes Adamian was an earlier pioneer. When we say pioneer, it means the first person to do something, to develop and demonstrate an experimental colored television, or a tricolor television in the 20th century. So he is actually credited historically with early innovations towards color broadcast system. Before him, televisions existed, but the problem was that the images had no color. Images were like black and white. I think you get. So it is a powerful innovation. You come to think of it. Now, Thomas Edison, you might have heard about this name. The first one, Thomas Edison. You might have heard about him because he is also a very famous inventor. He invented the phonograph. Thomas Edison, what people know him for. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, the one that is shining when you are asleep, the one that you on to in order to see places at night, the light bulb. It was his handwork. Thomas Edison And the reason why you always hear about him you always hear people talking about Thomas Edison and the invention of the bulb is because he did this many times and he failed in his attempt, but he never gave up. After struggling 99 times and failing, he made a statement saying that he has only found out 99 ways that it is not going to work. So instead of saying that he has failed 99 times, so very soon somebody will come and write a concours and fail and say yes, maybe after writing a concours for 5 years, you say you have only discovered 5 ways that you will not pass a concours. That's not good. So the point is he never gave up. So I believe you must have, no matter when you were born, where you were born, where you have lived. Then the next is Bill Gates. Also Bill Gates is another figure that people, of course, is a modern software technology entrepreneur. So you cannot, when we're talking about TV invention, forget about Bill Gates. He's not the one. Excuse me. Yeah, we move on. Okay, we also have Philo Farnsworth. I almost forgot about him. Philo Farnsworth, he also he invented the television, but not the tricolor television as it is precise here. He was the pioneer or the first person to invent the electronic television system. So that now that we're talking about tricolor television, the answer is Hovhannes Adamian. Good. So we're saying that Thomas Edison, we're talking about the light bulb. Yes, he was not small there. We're talking about the phonograph. Talking about technology, Bill Gates is number 1. They were talking about the electronic television. We'll talk about Philo Farnsworth. All right. May we go ahead to question number 8? Question 8, I read. Which is the weight of an object at the poles? I'll read again. And yeah, that's it. Why is, that's why I was, the question says, why is the weight of an object at the pole greater than at the equator? So, physics is yet to come. Or you have already finished writing physics, because at Nahpi, general knowledge is paper 3. Is the last paper. So after writing physics, you think you are done. Now physics has met you right inside general knowledge. The answer to this question is B, which says that gravitational pull is more at the pole than at the equator. Gravitational pull is more or greater at the pole than at the equator. Now let me explain. Let me explain that one. Let me explain why the gravitational pull is greater at the pole than at the is much more at the pole. Number 1, because of the shape of the earth. So you see that someone could come and take A. A is slightly correct, but not very correct. The shape of the earth, the earth has a spherical shape or an oblate spheroid shape. So the planet is flattened at the pole and then it is bulged at the equator. So a point at the pole is slightly closer to the Earth's center than at the equator. So gravity or gravitational force increases with proximity to the Mars center, and then that is why we come closer to the pole now, gravitational pull becomes greater. The second thing now is inertia, or if you have understood inertia, I'll be talking about the centrifugal effect from the rotation of the earth. This is because at the equator, the outward centrifugal effect due to the earth's rotation is big, or is largest at the equator, and as a result it reduces the effective weight that is there. At the poles, the centrifugal effect is essentially zero. The combination means now that measured weight is higher at pole. So A is wrong, B is wrong, C and Z, they are invoking the moon. So the question is, why are they invoking moon when we are talking about the earth? So question 9 is saying that which countries contribute the most to human induced climate change through pollution? We'll talk of human induced climate change, or we'll talk of climate change as a whole. Climate change is what we call global warming. And then the main cause of global warming is greenhouse effect, greenhouse gases. Now, the question says which countries contribute the most to human induced climate change, meaning that climate change that's induced by humans and then through pollution. The answer is nothing else but B, China and USA. Okay, why? Worldwide greenhouse emission are dominated by major industrial economies, and those major industrial economies are mainly in China and in the United States. They are the top contributors. First of all, China is the largest emitter of greenhouse gases. China is the largest, or the number one. So China together with USA contribute to substantial share of the global carbon dioxide emissions from fossil fuels and also from industries. Now we look at India, Britain, South Africa, Nigeria, Brazil, and Germany as they are listed in the various options. They are also contributors to the emission of greenhouse gases at their own level, but none of them together represent the same scale of the emission from China and USA pair. So the ratio should tell us clearly that China and USA is the chief when it comes to the emission of greenhouse gases, which causes global warming, otherwise known as climate change. Question 10. Question number 10. Okay, good. Which of the following is the largest grouping of engineering organizations on Earth? So I'm sure you're first of all reading this question that you don't first of all know any engineering organization. The answer is C. I'm thinking something else. The answer is C. Good. So the answer is C, World Federation of Engineering Organizations. Now, what is WFEO? It is a global umbrella, or it is a federation of national engineering institutions and engineering societies, and is recognized as one of the largest global bodies that unites engineering organizations together. The WFEO brings together many national and international members of engineering. Then we also have other engineering organizations, even national and international. Like if you look at option A says International Association of Engineers. International Association of Engineers is actually it exists, and it's an international organization, international association of individual engineers and researchers. But now it is not a global federation. It is not a cross-border or an engineering society. So that is the only reason why C beats as the correct answer. Now we are going to look at B and D together. B is cross-border engineers and D is engineering society. I would like to say that cross-border engineers and engineering society are not established they are not established organizations of engineering. Yes, otherwise they are engulfed within the WFEO. They are not organizations that actually exist. All right, question 11. Faced with increasing population pressure and a constantly changing world, competent engineers must okay. All right. Okay, so I will have to read the question again. Faced with increasing population pressure and constantly changing world, competent engineers must let's see what A says, provide standard solution to the world's problem. B, reduce population. Really? C. C. Constantly invent new ways of solving problem. The answer is C. Yes. The population is increasing. And then not only population is increasing, population pressure is increasing, and the world is constantly changing, meaning that the world keeps on changing. It brings a sense of innovation that engineers they should constantly be trying to see new ways to innovate. I did not even see D. This says make modern life easy. Making modern life easy is by innovating. If they don't generate new ways of solving problems, modern life will never be easy. So that's the point. Question 12. How do we term engineering resource exploitation which does not totally compromise the natural environment and allow future generations to meet their own resources? Simple. Sustainable engineering. Question 12. Sustainable engineering is option C, right? Option C. Yes. Sustainable engineering actually focuses on designing systems and extracting resources in ways that will meet current needs without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. Now, you just from the name sustainable should already tell you everything now. Sustainability, like as in sustainable development and so on. So sustainable engineering. Now we have other options: environmental engineering, green engineering, natural engineering. Let me tell you why they are wrong. Environmental engineering, that's option A, is actually a way of remediation and protection of the environment, meaning that it is related to discipline, but not the exact terminology that we can use. And then it does not really emphasize on the use of resources in a way that future generation will also meet their own needs. So now the next we have option B, which is green engineering. Green engineering is a kind of engineering, or how can I say, it emphasizes on creating an environmental friendly practice which overlaps with sustainability, but here it narrowly does not emphasize sustainability. Then natural engineering is not actually a standard term for any described practice. Question 13. Gradually but surely, question 13. All right, here we go. All right, I read a question. The COVID-19 virus has reported infected over 24 million persons and killed over 800,000 persons worldwide. Due to its rapid spread over the world, the World Health Organization has termed it pandemic. What are those options? Pandemic. Good. All right. So the question that begs for an answer is, what is a pandemic disease? Why is COVID-19 a pandemic disease? And also, why are the other answers wrong? Why is it not a global disease? It affects the whole world. Why is it not an international virus or an epidemic? For short, a pandemic disease a pandemic disease is an outbreak of disease that spread across countries and continents, affecting a large number of people at the same time. Now, COVID-19 spread rapidly across the globe, and it affected countries all over the world. So that is why the World Health Organization officially classified it as a pandemic disease. Now, an epidemic disease refers to a regional outbreak of a disease. It does not it also affects a large area, but limited. It is less than the pandemic scale. Now, looking at the other option, which says international virus, and then the other one which says global virus, these are actually informal phrases. They are not actually accepted or public official phrases that are used for diseases. There's no international virus or global disease. It is, maybe you can use it when you are casually discussing with your grandmother who does not know the meaning of pandemic. then you will say that na something we it is an international virus or global. Now, question 14, ladies and gentlemen, if the men are gentle. All right. Question 14. So, question read: which of the following is the least common symptom of COVID-19? So, for those of you who never had COVID-19 during that time, and for those who actually had the COVID-19 and got treated, what were the symptoms? The least common. The least common. So, it's true the symptoms. There's all these ones here that you are seeing here are symptoms, but we want the least common. May the answer not shock you. Let's look through it. We have fever, headache, dry cough, tiredness. Fever, dry cough, and tiredness. Fever, dry cough, tiredness. These were among the most frequent presenting symptoms of COVID-19. So, without doubt, it is without doubt that headache, which is option B, headache will be the most common. Wait. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it will be without doubt that headache now will be the least common symptom. All right. So question 15 now, which reads: which organ of the human body did COVID-19 affect? So you know that when you had COVID-19, you will have difficulty in breathing. That's what you heard from the from the World Health Organization, as well as the Ministry of Public Health in Cameroon. So when you have difficulty in breathing, it means that your lungs are, first of all, means that your respiratory system is affected. And then which respiratory organ is affected? COVID-19 is primarily a respiratory disease because the virus attacks the respiratory tract and the lungs, and it causes symptoms that range from mild cough to severe pneumonia. How do people call it? Okay. And then also, like I said, it causes symptoms that range from mild cough to severe pneumonia and acute respiratory distress as well, what we call ARDS. ARDS, acute respiratory distress symptom. So now when you look at the other organs like the liver, kidney, the heart, and so on, they could be affected in severe cases of COVID-19 due to complication. Does not mean that COVID-19 will actually cause their liver or their heart to to have issues, but in severe cases where because of complications before we can it could actually affect them that way. Question 16. Which of the following is not a barrier measure against the coronavirus in Cameroon? So I'll not explain here very well because on the 18th of March 2018, around on the 18th of March. Okay, I'm not going to explain too much here, because I think on the 18th of March around 220, when the virus was rampant, the Prime Minister, head of government, outlined, he made a presented to the nation a list of barrier measures to curb the spread of COVID-19. By then, all of you were already born. Okay. So the question says, which of the following is not? So the answer is only going to be C. I will explain why. Because washing of hands, wearing of face or nose mask, and then staying at home, these are barrier measures. But when you have already left your house, there's no measure like avoid coughing in public. Coughing is an involuntary action. Nobody like to cough. And there's no way that when cough is coming, you are going to avoid it. Or if you are coughing, you have to stay in the house. So it goes back to D. So the correct answer is D. All the rest were barrier measures, but D, avoid coughing in public. Actually, if you had to cough, you cough or you sneeze in a flex elbow. Yeah. So question 17. In which year did Cameroon win her last AFCON? Yes, African Nation Cups trophy. Now, for football lovers, you will never forget that the answer is 2017 now. Cameroon's most recent African Cup of Nations Championship was won in 2017, where they beat Egypt in the final of the 2017 tournament. That victory was the last, or let me say, is the last AFCON trophy that Cameroon has claimed to date. And then in common records, a major tournament winners. Now when you look at the other option, 2018, 2019 and 2008, they are not the correct years for Cameroon last African Nations Cup. So the answer is 2017. Question next should be 18. Question reads, who is the current head coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon male football team? Male football team. Now, anyway, if we're talking as of today, then the correct answer would not be there. Yes, because these questions were set in 2020. And in 2020, the head coach was Antonio something. Yes, it's Antonio Consacchio, something like that. Okay. So, but after him was Rigobert Song. Rigobert Song took over from him, and then today we have Mark Brice. Yeah. So if the question was for today, the answer will be Mark Brice for short, not the Antonio name that we. All right. Now, question 19. Question read, where and when will the next edition of the African Nations Cup be played? So you see that for you to become a good engineer, you need to know small football now. As of then, by 220, The next African Nations Cup was to take place in Cameroon and was scheduled for 2021. So Cameroon 2021. Answer is C. Question 20. Question reads, one of the following persons was not a candidate in Cameroon's 2018 presidential election. So we have Serge Espoir Matomba, we have Adamu Ndamjoya, we have Caporal Libil, then we have Haga Haman. The question again, one of the following person was not a candidate. So we have to look around. Who among these people was not a candidate for 2018 presidential election? Among the candidates that are listed, I'm seeing Serge Espoir Matomba was a candidate. Adamu Ndamjoya was a candidate. Gaga Haman was a candidate. But now, the name Caporal Libil was not a candidate because the real name is Cabral Libil, not Caporal. This is the name, Cabral Libil. So, the answer will be C to that effect. Cabral Libi was, of course, the flag bearer for the political party PCRN. Until today, is still the flag bearer for that political party as of the date of this tutorial. Question 21. In which division 21. In which division of the Northwest region is the University of Bamenda located? Now, the answer should be D, no? D, Mezam, right? It's not in Kiklonja, Menchum, Momo. It is in Mezam division. Mezam is the administrative division where the main campus of the university faculties they are located. Then you Ngokitonja, Menchum, Momo divisions are actually wrong. So the university is located in Mezam division. Question 22. When did the Grand National Dialogue aim at remedying the ongoing crisis in the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon take place? Le Grand Dialogue National took place on the 30th of September. From the 30th of September to the 4th of October 2019. So let's look at the options. Option A, wrong. Option B, good. The rest are wrong. Le Grand Dialogue National. So if you're a Cameroonian and you don't know about the Le Grand Dialogue, then you are not Cameroonian enough. Or other people are more Cameroonian than you are. Because this date marked the former period of dialogue or dialogue session when different committees were created. And the aim was to remedy the ongoing crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. During this time, a National Disarmament Commission was created. Also, among others, the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism was also created with the appointment of Peter Mafanyi Musonge as the president of this commission. by January 2017. So this Grandeur Dialogue National was attended by so many commissions, and these commissions actually they were aimed at providing solutions to the crisis that Cameroon was facing at that time until the time of recording of this lesson. Question 23. So le Grand Dialogue National was from the 30th to the 4th of October 2019. Question 23. Which of the following was not a resolution of the Grand National Dialogue? Option A, the reinforced autonomy of decentralized local authorities. It was a resolution. Next, B, special reconstruction plan. Yes, it was a resolution. Special status granted to Northwest and Southwest. Yes. One and indivisible Cameroon. No. The answer is D. So the major national dialogue produced resolutions like the reinforced autonomy for decentralized entities, and then the proposal which concerned the special status and the reconstruction plans for the affected regions, which were mainly the Northwest and the Southwest regions. Now, well, look at the phrase "one and indivisible Cameroon." It is a constitutional slogan or a political slogan, which is just a reaffirmation. It's not like Cameroon was not one and indivisible before the crisis. It was already one and indivisible, so it was not a resolution at the major national dialogue. Question 24. All right, all the answers are not complete, so let me read the question first. Cameroon has about 22 airports operating international and national flights alike. Which among the following airports carry out the least number of domestic flights? It's B now. It's B. So let's look at that. Let's look at all the options before we conclude. Okay, so of the options, we have A, Douala International Airport, can never be. B, Salag Airport is in Marwa. Yaoundé Simale International Airport, and then the Garwa Airport. Okay. So the answer will be the Salak Airport, which is located in Marwa, the far north region, and it is a small regional airport for few domestic routes and then less passenger traffic, which if we want to compare with the international airports like the Douala International Airport, the Yaoundé Simale and military airport, and the Garwa International Airport also. So you see that the Douala, Simale, these are the main countries' international airport with many domestic connection. Now, when you want to go down the scale, you will now meet Garwa, which is also busier than Salak. So the answer will be B, Salak Airport. Okay, question 25. So gradually we are almost getting there to the end of this paper. According to the Cameroonian constitution, who sits in for the president in case of incapacitation? Simple as ABC. According to the Cameroonian constitution, in case of incapacitation duly ascertained by the Constitutional Council, the president of the Senate shall become the interim president of the Republic of Cameroon. So under the Cameroonian constitutional provisions, it is the president of the Senate that has the constitutional official designation to assume interim duties if the president become incapacitated. So president of the Senate, the president du Sénat, option A. Option A, good. Now look at the other option. President of the National Assembly, Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic, Secretary General à la Présidence, then the Prime Minister. All those answers are wrong. Is the Senate President that becomes the interim president. Now, I also want to add some few things to it for you to understand. Now, when they say permanent incapacitation, it means a situation where the president cannot observe his duties. The president of the republic, it can be as a result, the constitution cites it can be as a result of death. So that means if the president dies during his mandate, the president of the republic dies, or illness, does not mean any kind of illness, an illness that he can no longer uphold his duty, his office over a long period of time. So until a point when the Constitutional Council declare him incapacitated. Then resignation where he resigns. Then these are the things that can cause him to be the president to be incapacitated. And then the president of the Senate will become the interim president. Now, what's the meaning of interim? When they say interim, it means the person is a president while waiting for the real president to be voted. So the president of the Senate will become president, and then election will be organized, and citizens will vote for the new president to come up. Restrictions. The first restriction is that the interim president cannot amend the constitution. No amendment of the constitution. So the interim president cannot amend the constitution. The interim president cannot run for the office of the president. So when they organize election, the interim president cannot stand as one of the candidates. So the interim president cannot also change the composition of the government. So those are the restrictions. Okay, question 27. No, question 26 d'abord. One of the following persons has never served as prime minister in Cameroon. So we are talking about a person who has never been a prime minister in Cameroon. A. Ainoni Ephraim, he has been a prime minister in Cameroon. B. Issa Hayatou. Issa Hayatou has never been a prime minister in Cameroon. Unlike you have Bello Buba Maigari and Pobia. Pobia has been a prime minister. He was appointed first of all as director of cabinet, then later appointed to the office of Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic under President Amadou Ahidjo, then later appointed by President Amadou Ahidjo as the Prime Minister of Cameroon. Then after Amadou Ahidjo, upon resignation, officially assigned his office to President Paul Biya as President of Cameroon. So the answer is B, Issa Hayatou. Question 27. Question reads, Who is the governor of the Northwest region? Some people don't know that the governor of the Northwest region is Adolphe Lele Lafrique. Adolphe Lele Lafrique is the governor of the Northwest region. Now, you can see, for example, Nasseri Paul Biya is the governor of the Center region, Yaoundé. So it's incorrect. Our Fonka Augustine, on the other hand, is the governor of the West region, our Fonka Augustine. And then Bernard, all these people here, they are governors, but the governor of the Northwest region is Adolphe Lele Lafrique. So you also need to know name of governors. For example, governor of the North region is Jean Abate Edi. Governor of the Far North region is Mijiyawa Bakari. Governor of the Center region is Nasseri Paul Biya, and so on. Then question 28. Okay, just 3 more questions and we are done. All right. Question reads: the Black Lives Matter movement is popular for decrying which humanitarian injustice? Humanitarian injustice. B. Racism. The Black Lives Matter. This is the answer. The Black Lives Matter. The Black Lives Matter movement focuses on fighting racism, particularly systemic violence and discrimination among black people or against black people, including police brutality and unequal treatment in a judicial or justice system. Then xenophobia, apartheid, and slavery are different forms of periods of injustice. The core contemporary focus of the Black Lives Matter is racism. So B has the correct answer. Question 29, which is the second to the last. Which sector of the Cameroonian economy suffers the least from the COVID-19? Suffered the least. Okay, let's examine them critically. The sector that did not too much suffer. We have the transport sector. It suffered until. Why did it suffer too much? In vehicles, they did not want people to sit close to each other. Taxis, they were carrying 3 people instead of 5. So that the transport sector suffered. Fuel, everything, you traveling from one place to one town to another. Where will you see passengers again? People did not want to go and carry corona. Then entertainment and leisure. During that time, it was a time people were advised to stay in their houses. So when people were advised to stay at home, people coming out for entertainment, parties, coming out to go and attend birthdays, even weddings. In church weddings, I know many weddings that were cancelled because of corona. And some people insisted and held their wedding, that even if it is just me and my wife, pastor, you blessed, we'll go. So things during that time, entertainment and leisure, they also suffered. Now what about communication and ICT? It did not suffer even 1 second. COVID-19 even helped communication and IT and ICT to grow. For example, what I'm doing here right now, during COVID-19, It did not affect me that I'm using my tablet and my computer to teach, to prepare you for the exam that you're going in for. But for physical classes, then it will stop. Yes, so it rather helped the growth of the communication and ICT department. They also affected the agriculture. So the answer is C. Now, the last question, which happens not to be the least, wants you to know the Vice Chancellor of the University of Bamenda, Professor Teresa Akenji, who is the Vice Chancellor of the University of Bamenda. I'm sure the question was given to you. They thought it is going to be a dash question. This is the answer. C. Professor Teresa Akenji. So, thank you for taking the lesson to this point. Do well to give a thumbs up to the video if you love it. Subscribe to the channel for more video updates and notification. If you want to get in touch with us, then you can contact the number on your screen. You will have to talk with me directly, and then during which you may have the privilege to ask your questions and then have instant responses to your worries. I will continue to say good luck to you as you prepare intensively for the Nahpi exam and other relative concours relating thereto. This is just 2020 session. In less than no time, I'll be dropping another one. So if you don't subscribe, you may miss it. If you subscribe, by the time it comes, you'll be notified. Acadex has done it again. You'll come and watch. And at the end of the day, you will pass your concours. So, goodbye, and then see you in our next lesson.